Alright guys, welcome back to Patreon requests, and the first one we're going to do is from Swift Blitz. And as always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon where you guys can hit the third tier, that'll allow you access to do so. But other than that, let's get started with the video. And the video in question is my top 10 favorite not Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon. Almost made a liar out of myself from the title. Top 10 Nickelodeon cartoons. And yeah. So, yeah. Nickelodeon Nickelodeon has always been known for having good cartoons. Thing of it is that I think Cartoon Network was just better at it. Don't get me wrong, there are some good Nickelodeon shows, and I think you can all guess who the number one is. I do have my phone, yes, because I would forget the list if I didn't. Yeah. But there are some ones you're going to expect on here, and you're probably already figured out who number one is by a long shot. But, yeah. Let's get started with the video. Starting off the bottom of the list, and as always, this is just my personal list. That's another thing I should get out. This is just my personal top 10. Sorry about that. Like I said, this is just my personal list. If you think a cartoon should be higher or lower on the list, that's totally fine. I got no problem with that. This is just, I'm always excited to hear what you guys have to say in the comments below as to what would your favorite cartoons be on your list. So yeah, let's get started at number 10, The Wild Thornberrys. The Wild Thornberrys is definitely a show that I really enjoyed as a cartoon. You know, I always loved animals and, you know, learning about them. And it was a cool, like, pseudo-educational show. And it definitely had some great humor to it. And of course, the man, the mustache, the meme, Nigel motherfucking Thornberry. Smashing! Yeah. But it definitely had some great humor to it. I definitely think that the show had it had some cool educational value to an extent. I'm not going to say it was like we're not talking National Geographic with this show, but I do definitely think that the show had a lot going for it. I definitely think that the show had some serious. I absolutely believe that the show had some serious. Impact on kids wanting to be like part of wildlife conservation. You ever notice, like, also in the 90s there was that kind of like there was that feel of protect the planet and protect animal life between Wild Thornberrys and, you know, Steve Irwin and Captain Planet. There was like that going on too. Man, I don't think people understand, and I hate to sound like nostalgic or whatever, but like, man, you don't realize how good the 90s were until they're gone and then you think back on it. The 90s, early 2000s. Anyway, so, yeah, let's move on to number 9, which is Real Monsters. Real Monsters was part of that kind of creepy era of cartoons that, again, the 90s was known for doing, it was known for making horror fans of this age. You want to know why so many millennial fans are fans of horror? It's probably because of things like Are You Afraid of the Dark, Goosebumps, you know, Nightmare Before Christmas, all those good things. And Real Monsters definitely played a role in it. The cartoon itself definitely has, some great comedic timing, and I think the monster designs are just awesome. I definitely believe that the show has had a lot of great potential with it. It just doesn't get, like, I know a lot of people love this show, but it doesn't get talked in the same vein as like the other Nickelodeon 90s classics. It kind of came out in like a wave 2 kind of thing, which kind of sucks. Anyway, so there you go. Now, number 8 can be summed up in one word: spoot. Yep, we're talking the Angry Beavers. Man, the shit, when you go back and watch the stuff from Angry Beavers, when you go look at the shit they somehow got away with in Angry Beavers, it just makes you go, fucking how did this show get there? There is some great, like, still great comedic timing between Norbit and Daggett. It's great. And also that Halloween special is a banger. I don't care what anyone says. That Halloween special is a fucking banger when it comes to shows. It's absolutely one of my favorites, and I try to look for it everywhere. It used to be on YouTube, but I guess it got taken down. And Is Angry Beaver still on Paramount Plus? I've heard two different things. Maybe I should go look it up, because it's such a great homage to, horror and like classic horror in general. It also has some great jokes in it too. So yeah. So let's move on now to number 7, which, I gotta be honest, guys, I don't think you're happy enough. That's right. I'll teach you to be happy. I'll teach your grandmother to suck eggs. It's very funny. A fly marrying a bumblebee. I told you I'd shoot, but you didn't believe me. Why didn't you believe me? Now, boys and girls, it's time to sing. Now, boys and girls, it's time to sing. Happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy. I'll stop. It's Ren and Stimpy at number 7. This show, much like Angry Beavers, but even on a broader level, I have no fucking clue how this show got away with half the shit it did. Let me show you how much I love this cartoon. Yep, had to get it. This show, it definitely has... It just makes you go, how the fuck did you get away with stuff? Happy, and some of now I'm not talking the jokes, I'm talking like some of just the imagery. And this show is memorable for me. It was one of my first cartoons I ever watched as a kid. It also kind of shaped my view on comedy. And there is some just great moments in that cartoon, from Powdered Toast Man, leave everything to me, to, of course, Happy, Happy, Joy, Joy, and just everything about that cartoon. It was wild, it was unhinged. I know people say, like, oh, modern day cartoons are unhinged and out of control these days. I was like, whew, I'm out here being Mr. Popular today. But like I said, the big thing with Ren and Stimpy was that the comedy was great, just the bizarreness of it, and just the outlandishness of the animation that was actually pretty solid. I love the like retro 1950s kind of feel to it. Probably impacted why I kind of like that aesthetic sometimes in cartoons. Anyway, so yeah, Ren and Stimpy. There was no way Ren and Stimpy wasn't going to be on this list. Anyway, number 6, My Life as a Teenage Robot. My Life as a Teenage Robot is a great, underrated show. Has some great animation. Again, it goes back to that kind of retro 50s, 60s era aesthetic that I like I just talked about with Ren and Stimpy. It has a lot of just great action to it as well. I mean, what do you expect? It's from Gennady motherfucking Tartakovsky. Or was it Greg McCracken? I always get those two, like, who created what. But yeah, My Life as a Teenage Robot is a solid action show with also great comedy, and I know what you all look at the internet. Come on. You've all seen the fan art. Come on, fess up. Anyway, I just... yeah, so My Life as a Teenage Robot, when you talk about underrated cartoon, I almost said it again, Nickelodeon shows, when you talk about criminally underrated Nickelodeon shows, I can think of no other show that is more underrated than My Life as a Teenage Robot. Anyway, so now we're at the big 5. Number 5, Legend of Korra. I know I used to give this show a lot of shit at the beginning, but rewatching the show and also seeing how good the last 2 seasons were, it definitely gives me a new appreciation for the series. I definitely appreciate the show a lot more. Are those first 2 seasons still rough? Yeah, they're still pretty rough, but now that you have like better context and an appreciation for the animation of the other half, I think that it ends strong. It starts out weak but ends strong. Korra is a great female character. She's like, I hate when people say Mary Sue with her, especially with it's her and Rey. It is her and Rey from Star Wars that the ones that get under my skin for like Mary Sue. Korra especially, because Korra is anything but a Mary Sue. Because I keep thinking of that scene from Princess Bride. You keep using that word, but I don't think you know what it means. So, Korra, you see her struggle, you see her fight, and yeah, The point is, she's not Aang. Even I had to remember that she's not Aang. That's what the big thing with this show is, that we were expecting her to be like Aang, when really she's not. Like, did we expect Kyoshi to be like Roku, or Kuruk to be like Kyoshi, or anything like that? The cycle always changes. That's the thing with elements, is that they always change, and that was the case with personalities. So yeah. All right, number 4. Moving on. Yeah, number 4 we have Danny Phantom. Did you think he wasn't going to be on this list, right? I mean, we all kind of figured that Danny motherfucking Phantom was going to be on this show. Great action, great animation. Butch Hartman can go suck a dick, but that's neither here nor there. And great, it's a great superhero show. It was an absolutely just banger of a superhero cartoon, and everything, needed to be like, to fill that kind of young superhero heart, I especially really love how the show plays, like, what if Spider-Man had ghost powers? I almost said powders. Jesus, I'm tongue-tied. I just absolutely love Danny Phantom. Does Butch Hartman still suck? Oh yeah, he's fuck that guy. But the reason why I think, like, I can tolerate Danny Phantom, even though, yeah, the creator's a piece of shit, is that Danny Phantom was made by a whole cast of people who aren't like Butch Hartman, and made by a crew that don't share his beliefs or his stance on things. I'm not the right person qualified to talk about those things, but you probably know what I'm talking about. But anyway, that's how I look at it, is that there was a whole cast of people, voice actors, creative animation team, that all did more for that show than Hartman ever did. And that's why I think I can separate for this time art over artist, excuse me. But yeah, regardless, show's great. I mean, hell, I still love the show enough to get it the complete series. So, if that doesn't tell you anything, I don't know what does. So, yeah, let's move on now to the top 3. And I gotta be honest, the top 3, I knew what my top 3 were. I really had a solid idea of who my top 3 were. The problem was, honestly, trying to figure out where to place them. That was the real shit kicker, was trying to place where those 3 belonged. And I gotta say that, after it really racked my brain, and honestly, these could switch either way. But for right now, let's talk about my number 3, Invader Zim. If you ever thought, like, again, going to that era of, like, the goth era and, like, the goth aesthetic and, like, creepy era, Invader Zim definitely helped. How did this show ever fucking get made is beyond my fucking comprehension. It's unhinged, it's wild, it's fun, it's dark, and also a show that has a major cult following and has still remained a favorite among among fans. It's just a great cartoon. Yeah. Invader Zim is an absolute cult favorite that it inspired, like, a whole generation of animators and creators and writers. I mean, hell, if without Invader Zim, we probably wouldn't have Viv Z Pop creating Hell of a Boss and Has Been Hotel. She's said multiple times how much Invader Zim influenced her. I mean, hell, she has fucking Richard Horvitz voicing Moxie. Says something, don't it? Anyway, so there you go. At number 2, Hey Arnold. Yeah, Hey Arnold was probably my favorite, one of my favorite cartoons of all time. It was a great show about living in this inner city area, talking about these adult subjects while not talking down to you, because it's still a kid trying to figure out these problems. And I really liked, again, the humor of it, the undertones of, like, talking about domestic abuse and, inner city poverty and shit like that. All of the characters are great. There's some great humor to it. And actually, that show could get scary when it wanted to. Like, even, like, I remember one time I was just, like, staying up late and watching Hey Arnold, like, 2 in the morning, and I'm, like, in my 20s. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm watching the Headless Cabbie episode. It was, like, night. I can't remember if it was raining or not, but it was, like, 2 in the morning. I was home alone, and I was just listening to this monologue that Arnold gives. And I'm just like, bro, I got chills. So, I'm convinced Craig Bartlett definitely had, like, can do horror. I think he could do a horror show. Also, the show was so popular, it had one of the best endings in the Jungle movie. I'm just saying. But yeah, so Hey Arnold. So at number 1, you can probably guess who my number 1 is. Ooh, who lives in a pineapple under... I'm not... Nope, it's not SpongeBob. Get that shit out here. Although I will say those first 4 seasons are solid. And also, for another honorable mention, this will be the real honorable mention, Rocko's Modern Life. Rocko came so close at number 10, but Wild Thornberrys just nudged it out for me. But, yeah. It's Avatar: The Last Airbender. Come on, guys. Like, seriously, did you not think it wasn't going to be Avatar? There was never going to be a show like that cartoon. There's never going to be in our life... like, the closest that I can think of for American animation, not Japanese animation. No disrespect to, like, Japanese animation, but I'm talking, like, animated cartoons here in the States. There has not been a cartoon like that has had that level of recognition and love since an Avatar: The Last Airbender. The closest I can think of is maybe Primal. But yeah, it showed you can do dark storytelling, great world building, a universe of showing of characters that everyone loves, everyone has cared for, and is just peak. It is the top of the fucking mountain. And even Cartoon Network and Paramount understand this, because they have Avatar Studios building shit for us in Avatar movies to this day. Guys. Yeah. So, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen to Paramount, but still, like, they had enough faith to, like, bring the creators back and keep building that universe, even though the show, along with Korra, are long gone. I don't know how else to tell you this, but Avatar: The Last Airbender is a fucking goated show. Yeah. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much my top 10 favorite Nickelodeon cartoons. I'd like to thank Swift Blitz for this Patreon request and continued patronage. And as always, if you guys would like to have a Patreon request done, just hit the link below, head on over to my Patreon, hit the 3rd tier. That'll allow you access to do so, as well as check out all the other videos on the other tiers of Patreon as well. But other than that, like I said, I'm always curious to hear what your top 10 Nickelodeon shows are. Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope y'all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.